with groundbreaking news and cutting-edge commentary, challenging your personal worldview and taking a deeper look into current events, politics, economics, and government. We bring you Trevor Thiessen with the Thiessen Report.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Thiessen Report. I've been told that it would help if I smiled a bit more. How's that? You know, it's hard. We all need comic relief, and I like to be on the lighter side sometimes. It's hard when you're covering stuff that's very serious and it's not funny, but I'll try to smile where I can. Alrighty, folks. So thank you for joining me today. And anyway, today I want to talk about the United States Department of Homeland Security. What this organization is, just a little bit of background about it, and what they're doing, what their real agenda is, and why we need to be concerned. A little bit of background here. The Office of Homeland Security, which is different from the Department of Homeland Security, was initially created October 8, 2001, so less than a month after 9/11. In response to the 9/11 attacks, we have the Office of Homeland Security. And later, November 25th, 2002, they passed legislation to create the Department of Homeland Security. And they've had three secretaries in that position. Janet Napolitano is now the current head of Homeland Security since January of 2009. And this is a huge bureaucracy. This is a bureaucracy that encompasses more than 22 different federal bureaucracies that have been absorbed into this mammoth organization called DHS. And it includes the Coast Guard, Secret Service, Customs and Border Patrol, Immigration, Naturalization, and numerous other organizations. TSA, Transportation Safety Administration, of course, are real popular right now, and several other bureaucracies. It does not include the FBI and CIA. A lot of people think that, but that's not the case. They are still separate organizations, as well as, of course, the Department of Defense. They are not under Homeland Security. But it is huge. It has over 200,000 employees, has a budget, initially a budget of like $42 billion. They overshot that, went up to $56 billion and change in 2010. So this is not a small operation by any stretch. One of the things that is very disconcerting about Homeland Security is a report that was leaked out. This was not meant to be public, but a report that was leaked out regarding their terror threat assessment for the United States. And it has nothing to do with radical Islam, which is what 9/11 is blamed on, but you, the American people. So that is what we're going to cover next. Yes, the next thing we want to look at is the DHS, basically their terrorist threat assessment here. Right-wing extremism, current economic and political climate, fueling reinsurgent and radicalization and recruitment. It's a little report that they did here that you can download yourself. This was put out in April of 2009, and a lot of people know about this, but I do want to cover a few key points here. One, this was never meant for public consumption. Right down here, second page at the bottom, it says, no portion of the LES information should be released to the media, the general public, or over non-secure internet servers. You are not supposed to know about this. This is an internal document. Well, this is what happens is you have good people on the inside who blow the whistle and leak the stuff out because they care about their country. Now, I'll be upfront with you, I don't like DHS. But there are still good people in the organization, just like there is in any organization. And they are risking their jobs and maybe more to get this information out. This happens all the time, folks. And I just want to touch on this particular report. This has been in the news, so it's not new, but I do want to touch on a few key things here. What's tricky about this report is that they lump normal, good people in with extremists. So you've got, you know, people who maybe are real concerned, like people who are, you know, violent racists, and they try to lump that in together with people who are pro-life, or people who, you know, are opposed to the Federal Reserve System, or people who are constitutionalists. So people who have genuine concerns about the government, they're being tied in with groups that may be more violent, and trying to demonize, basically demonize the patriot movement is what's happening here. I mean, you go through the report here, if you're concerned about firearm restrictions and weapons ban, you are a potential terrorist. If you are concerned about a one world government, which of course they're calling for a new world order, leaders of different countries, Prime Minister of Canada, the Pope, I mean, people in our executive branch, I mean, it goes on and on. They're saying it out loud, but you're a nut or you're a threat if you say something about it. And it's not that you're not crazy if you say that they're pursuing world government. You're crazy if you don't like it. That's the difference. They do talk about it, but if it's in a good light, that's different. Or if it's sort of as a matter of fact kind of a thing. But if you speak out on it saying it's not a good thing, then you're a nut job. Then you're a terrorist. Okay? There are other issues, what they call, you know, single issue people. People who are pro-life. People who are, you know, oppose same-sex marriages. Christians. Gun owners. People who are opposed to free trade agreements like GATT and NAFTA, which have basically gutted our industry. So if you're opposed to that, if you're just participating in the regular political process, you are a potential terrorist. If you are a gun owner, if you oppose illegal immigration, if you, and it just goes on and on here, if you are a military veteran, a returning veteran from Iraq or Afghanistan, you're a potential terrorist. Now, how do you like that? How is that a slap in the face to the men and women who have risked their lives to defend our country? When troops came back from World War II, did they consider them potential terrorists? Or Korea or Vietnam? No. No, this is it's just criminal. And by the way, part of the information that it comes into this report comes from the Southern Poverty Law Center. I mean, a total left-wing, sniveling communist organization. They parade and masquerade themselves like they're these wonderful people that are looking out for rights. No, they're not. They're attack dogs to shut up people who are trying to expose what's going on and tell the truth. That's all they're doing. And they are now, I believe in the last several months, have officially become part of Homeland Security. You can check that out for yourself. So anyway, it goes on and on here. By the time you get to the end of the report, nothing about Muslim Brotherhood or radical Islam or any of that. So why is that? Okay, let's talk a little bit about why this report has come out and why it is the way it is. All right, we've looked at the Homeland Security report. Why would they write something like that? It's time to stop being naive about this stuff. We certainly don't want to assume the worst, but we need to take a look at what the evidence says here. Up front, I'm just going to tell you my opinion. The creation of the Department of Homeland Security really is another step taking us towards, or America towards, a police state. And this has been something that's been happening over many years, even before 9/11. And the report is just one piece of evidence that supports that. There's many more, but and we'll cover a few of these things today. Remember what I said about 9/11. 9/11 was a false flag incident. Problem, reaction, solution. You want to accomplish something, so you create a problem. You create a problem that results in a reaction, so you can offer the solution. We already have a solution. The solution is Homeland Security. We want to bring in more police state controls into America because we know they're going to rebel when the economy collapses, and we want to lock things down after the banks have finished raping the country. So, what do? We need an incident that will allow us to bring in more controls at the airport, more police state legislation, and it has to be done in a manner that people will accept. We create a terror incident that people react, my God, what are we going to do? We've got to stop the Muslim terrorists. We have a solution. It's Homeland Security. Well, the report says nothing about Muslim terrorists. It's all about you. And the reason is, that's the way it was from the beginning. I mean, you look at, what's his name? And I have it here. Reef Flesher, press secretary under Bush. You know, he has said on record that Homeland Security was on the drawing board before 9/11. They admit that. 9/11 gave them the green light to go ahead with this once it was public, and or once the incident took place. And if you look at what they're doing here, okay, here's an article, prisonplanet.com, December 2004. Ex-Stasi spy chief Marcus Wolf hired by Homeland Security. This is an article where they got some information from a guy named political analyst named Al Martin. And Marcus Wolf, why would they want Marcus Wolf, aka the Silver Fox, to consult for Homeland Security? He was the former head of the East German Stasi, probably the most efficient and ruthless intelligence service in the history of the world. He basically helped to set up the state's intelligence operations and internal directorate, okay? He was a consultant for Homeland Security. He's dead now. He died in 2006. But who else do we have here? Former KGB head, General Yevgeny Permekov. I think I'm saying that right. Yevgeny Permekov. And he's openly said, yes, I mean, he's consulting for Homeland Security. He's been interviewed by the BBC and other publications where he's been brought in to help set up Homeland Security and to basically set the DNA of this organization. Keep in mind the specialty of these guys was citizen spies, especially Marcus, where they would turn the public into spies. I mean, I think at one point in East Germany, they had, you know, maybe one in 66 people or something like that that were informants. Average citizens where they turn neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend, relative against relative, and everyone's paranoid. That's part of how a police state operates, and this is who they're bringing in to help set up DHS. So, you know, scary Muslim boogeyman are only the window dressing, and not that there isn't a threat there. I mean, there is, but that's not why they're doing this. That is the window dressing. They are bringing these people in to bring about a police state in this country. I'm sorry. So we're going to cover more examples of this coming right up here.